Right. And so people are experimenting with electricity all over the world, but they couldn't get it to travel very far down a wire. There were just issues with how far can you send it. So then, we're in the 1840s, and there's this guy named Samuel Morse. He had a tragedy in his life. His fairly young wife, died. He was away from home at the time. The news of his wife's death took so long to reach him. By the time he got home, she had already been buried. And this traumatized him for the rest of his life. And he was really focused on the idea of how do you make information move quicker. So you've got Samuel Morse here in the US. This is now in the 1840s. So you got Samuel Morse in the US working through this personal tragedy, really intrigued by this idea of electricity. And then in England, you got a couple guys named Wheatstone and Cook. They're doing the same thing there. So here in the U.S., you've got Samuel Morse, and he's doing some experiments and getting it to work longer. And he convinces the government to do a test line. So the first electric test line is between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. It's about, I think, 40 miles maybe. And they get it to work, and then the people in England get it to work, and people look at it and say, well, that's really interesting, but nobody cared. So this huge...
Well, because 40 miles is like, so what, right? Like we can
Right,
get on a
so
horse
what?
and be there in an hour, right?
Right, exactly. And they were like, well, this seems to be like a solution looking for a problem. I mean, it just didn't really click with people. And on both sides of the ocean, people did not respond that big. But then, strangely enough, and this sort of mirrors kind of what we experience with social media here, there were some incidents that really caught the public's attention, and it's sort of like their version of the tabloids and social media.
Mm-hmm.
But the popularity of the telegraph took a huge leap forward when it was used to announce the birth of Queen Victoria's second child. So it's like
as
oh,
a
that
PR
caught people's
stunt.
attention. Whoa, that was great. People thought that was amazing, and there was a lot of hoopla made about that. And then
So,
also,
well, wait, slow down. So this was like clearly someone like was ready for it, right? And
yes,
like planned that, and this
they
was like
must have.
instead of a horse rider, instead of a smoke signal, like because there's a lot of ceremony there, right?
Right.
And
Yes.
no one's allowed onto the estate. So I guess the wire is the safe way to interact. That's interesting, actually.
Yeah. And so that really caught the public's attention. And then all of the royal family went off to one of the castles for an event related to this birth of the second child. And one
Mm-hmm.
of the royals had left their suit back home. And so they used the telegraph to request to bring the suit back to the castle for this event around the birth of the second child. And that was also reported in the news. And people thought that was just awesome.